Okay.
You have to tell me if the thing is shaky. I'm going to do the front-facing one in a minute. Okay. So you guys, I texted some drawings that I did to your families. I took pictures of all this stuff, but we're going to be working on the sword techniques, and I thought I would diagram them out a little bit so that you guys who learn through seeing stuff, you know, on a board might benefit from it. Okay. So what I've done here is I've tried to diagram some things that I think are important details, and I will hold my camera over them and talk about them each in case you guys want to take some notes and do a little drawing yourself. Okay. But again, I did send these pictures to your families through text. So hopefully, if you want to spend some more time looking at them, you can. So I just want you to see, when I talk to you about how to hold the sword, you have to remember that the bottom of the sword is held at the level of your belly button, and the tip of the sword is around the height of your throat. Okay, and so if you are able to see yourself in a mirror, or if you're able to do a video of yourself so that you can tell that, that's really important. Okay, oftentimes what happens is the bottom hand needs to be pushed down, okay, in order for the correct angle to be achieved. And so you have to push the hand down without lowering it too far below the belt. Okay, so that angle is important. And that's basically shomenkamai, or like a front stance. And that's where we would stand if we were in the ready position. Okay. When we're standing in that position, so that's obviously side view. And here's the front view. Okay, so here's the line that we'll be standing on. Okay, the right foot is forward. So you can see how the hanmi and the sword and your center all line up on that line. And it has to be as exact as possible, you guys. So for instance, Louis's got a mat that he's standing on. And if he can stand on one of those lines and practice his hanmi that way, and then make sure that his sword is directly over that line, then he can start to really check on his form to make sure that all of that is in the same line. Super important, you guys. Don't overlook it. Okay. Just to say that, like here, this is hanmi, of course, right? And so if you're in left hanmi, this is how it looks. So your front foot is divided exactly in half. Here's the back going right-footed. Okay, and the back foot is divided in half as well, but it's on that diagonal. All right. So at the end of a cut, the sword should be flat, horizontal with the ground. Okay, and also at the level of your navel as well. Okay. Never let the tip of the sword drop below. Okay, if you're going to err on the side of caution, let the tip be a little bit higher, but not much. Okay. It's important for you to be able to stop there accurately. Okay. And so cut slowly. I would rather you cut slowly and be able to stop at that level spot than to try to go fast and be messy and drop down below it. Okay. Okay. So when we do the second Suburi, we step back into this position where the sword is above your head and it's held at an angle above. Okay, and so you can see the angle here. I've tried to represent that as clearly as possible. All right. And I'm indicating here when you raise this, so this is what it looks like from the side, and this is what it looks like from the front, okay? So you can see it says elbows in. Don't stick your elbows out wide, okay? Not this, okay? That's too wide. Oop, there should be a second O there. It's too wide, so I'll remind you of that when we're practicing it. But when you raise that, try to keep your elbows in, not too far, okay, but definitely not sticking out like this because they can get hit. Okay, and then over here, you might have heard me talk about this before. There's hanmi, okay, which is the feet are right behind each other and the back foot is divided in the middle, okay. There's this other one over here called shitoemi. Shitoemi. It's actually spelled hitoemi, Hitoemi, but it's pronounced shito, okay? And this means basically the front foot is on the line like normal, but the back foot, the toes are in line with the back of the front foot, okay? And that helps you to turn your hips sideways, because when you're thrusting, your body has to turn more sideways. And in order to turn sideways, you have to turn that foot back and off the line. I'll hopefully be able to show you that when we're practicing here in a minute. I showed the right arm in red and the left arm in green when you're thrusting with the left foot forward. And the sword has to come straight out of the center. I think showing this from above might help you because when we do it, that thrust from the left, it's pretty awkward. And hopefully by seeing this, you can understand a little bit about how that's supposed to look. But you want to turn your body sideways because you want your body to be off the line as much as possible. When you're thrusting, someone else might be thrusting at you. And if you're a big, wide target, then there's a chance you're going to get skewered. So try to keep your body sideways, okay? So again, throat and navel, center line. When you're cutting, remember, it stays at the end, it's a level sword. Okay, and when you're in the second Suburi position, your elbows need to be in. And you're gonna pause in this situation, in this shape right here, okay? So you should have your sword in your left hand, because if you were holding a real samurai sword, that's where you would draw it from here, okay, from this side. The correct way to begin practice or to bring your sword out from the ready position into Shomen Kamae, okay, is very, very simple, okay? Let me tell you what it isn't first. It is not pretending like it's a real samurai sword, okay? We're not gonna, do all the fancy stuff that the swordsmen do. We're not gonna pretend that there's a sheath right here that we're putting it in. We're not doing that, okay? Essentially, you just reach across with your right hand and bring it up past your ear, grab with your left hand, and now you're in position. And when you're done, you just do the same thing. So you want to try to grab where your right hand's going to be anyways, so that when it comes up past, you don't have to slide your hand around much except to get your knuckles on top. So my feet are together here. I'm a little close so you can see me. Grab, step forward with your right foot into hanmi. Okay. So hopefully what you can see is the bottom of my sword is right at my navel, my belly button. Okay, and the tip of my sword, hopefully, is about at the top of the level of my throat. Okay, I'm not pushing away too far, and I don't have it in too close. Okay, but I'm pushing down on this bottom hand in order to get the correct angle. Okay, and then I put it away this way. Reach across to here. Okay. So let me back up so maybe you can see my feet. So as I'm here, step out into hanmi. And then when I put it away, the same thing. And when I'm in this ready position, when I'm in the, before I'm bringing my sword out, the blade is facing up. And so you'll have to figure out how that, where your blade is. Generally, the blade is the round part, okay? The rounded part, and the spine of the sword has angles on it. Okay, so you can pretty much feel, just know by feel that you need to have the blade up, so that when you bring it out, the blade is down. That's how you have to begin it, okay? So just like with the Jo, there are Suburi with the sword. And so we're gonna practice these 7 boken, the wooden sword. Bo is wood and ken is sword, right? There are 7 boken Suburi. And unlike the Jo, these are just done by numbers. They're not done, they don't have names specifically like chokusuki or kaishiski. It's just ichi no suburi, ni no suburi, san no suburi, and so forth. So let's begin, okay? The first suburi is an up and down cut where you do not take a step. The front foot slides back to the back foot, and you bring the sword to your spine, and then you slide the foot back out and cut down level. Essentially, this is the first Suburi. So you can see my feet, my front foot is stepping to my back foot, so my feet are together. The sword isn't on my spine, and I'm cutting down level. Okay. Hold on for just a second. Okay, so let me show you that from the front. Who's this person I can see right here? Vesper, your face is frozen. Okay, we're still doing good. So here I am. So we're here. Ichi no Suburi. You can see my elbows are sticking together here. Don't let your elbows stick out. Slide your foot out. Hands, sword. All the way up to the spine. My upper hand can loosen up a little bit. Elbows, hands, sword. Elbows, hands, sword. All the way up and all the way down. Okay, from the back, you'll see my sword goes right to the spine. Here. Hey. Hey. My weight is evenly distributed between my legs. So don't lean too far back. Okay, that wouldn't be good. Don't lean too far forward. That wouldn't be good either. Okay, very evenly distributed. Okay. Ichi no Suburi is, it's the first Suburi here, of course. And you're not stepping. Your feet stay in place other than that front foot going back and forth. Okay, and as you're cutting, there's also a sense of the hips dropping, okay? The knees are gonna bend a little bit more and the hips are gonna drop. Okay, Vesper, do you not have a sword? Who am I looking at here? pigtails. Elsa, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So as you cut, the knees bend a little bit. And that helps the sword to do the cutting. Because when you're cutting, this is a fine instrument, okay? It's not a sledgehammer. You're not cutting with muscles in your arms. It's like in taijutsu, I tell you all the time, it's not in your arms. It's in the hips.
I can get in.
Okay? So when you're cutting, just let gravity do its job. Okay? Gravity. That's all. You wanna hold on to it, of course, but as it's coming down, just let gravity take it down. Any power in this cut is going to come from the hips dropping. Okay? The knees bending. Boom. That's a hip. The hip powers that into something that's a centered kind of a strength, not a upper body kind of strength. Okay, the other part of this is that when you're cutting with a blade, you don't just chop like this, okay? It has to slice. So when you're cutting and your hips are dropping, you're also pulling from here. And so that's how the blade does its cutting. Okay? So, Ichi no Suburi. Straight up, straight down. Hey! Straight up, straight down. Hey! It can be a really slow cut so that you know it's level. Breathe in. Hey! Breathe out. Breathe in. Hey! Breathe out. Keep your knees bent. Breathe in. Make sure your hanmi is clean. Hey! Breathe out. Breathe in. Hi! Breathe out. Breathe in. Hey! Breathe out. Okay? So that's the first Suburi. The second Suburi is this one that I showed you before where the sword is at an angle like this. Right? And so you're stepping back. So you start like this. Right foot forward. Always the right hand on top, right? Okay. Step back with the right foot. Now my left foot is forward. And I step forward and do the same kind of cut. Right foot forward. Step back. Pause. Make sure the sword is at an angle pointing up here. Don't let it drop back yet. Stop it here. And then as you step forward to cut, it drops to your spine. This is ni no Suburi. Okay, and so as you're stepping back, you're still pointing the sword directly towards your partner. Okay, so don't let it turn. Okay, straight back. Okay, and so here's the issue with the elbows again. If your elbows are like this, bring them in a little bit. Not too much, okay, but not out here like this. And then as you step forward to cut, feet together, sword to the spine, okay? Step forward with the right foot, and then elbows first, then hands, then the sword. Okay. Try to keep yourself aware of how tight your shoulders are, okay? Because it's a very common thing. Your shoulders start to get tired, okay? All the way up here. I think this is called the trapezius. And it gets really tight. So stay aware of that and try to relax it as much as possible. Some of you guys, I'm encouraging you to try to own your body a little more. And what I mean by that is like to go ahead and be as big as you actually are. And when you hold the sword, it's an opportunity to practice that. When we're on the mat and we're doing Tai no Henko, it's easy for the shoulders to come forward and the back to round out. and then the chest kind of collapses here. Okay. Sensei would always say, "Mune o harate," like your chest has to stay up. Mune, chest, mune. So when you're doing Tai no Henko, keep your chest up. Keep your shoulders back a little bit, chest up. Same thing goes for the sword. When you're cutting, it's really easy to round your back out like this and for the chest to be curved in. So instead, really try to keep your posture strong, okay? And keep your chest up. Again, not pompous, okay? But also not collapsed. Stand up for yourself, okay? Put your chest up and your chin up. Okay, when you step forward and cut, same thing. You keep your chest in that up position. Don't let it do this. Sometimes if you're reaching to cut something, that'll also cave the chest in. Okay, but here I'm off balance. You can't reach too far. Okay, Ino Suburi. Hey, chest up. Hey, chest up. I would rather have a good posture and be farther away. You know, like I'm not going to reach for you here because I'm off balance. I would rather cut accurately and have to move my body forward in order to reach you. Okay. So with all those pieces in mind, let's just practice some Nino Suburi with no interruptions. So I'll try to do it from all directions. Okay. So always starting with the right foot forward, okay? Starting Shomen Kamae, right foot forward, always the right hand on top. Nino Suburi. Hey. Reset. Nino Suburi. Hey. The second Suburi. Reset. See how my elbows are in, right? Hey, nice and slow with the cut. Hey. Okay, you keep facing towards me. I'm going to turn. Hey. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey. I'd rather you cut slowly and accurately with good form. And cut fast. That's not how good learning occurs. So the sense of Suburi number 2 is that, you know, if you and I are facing each other and you decide to lunge towards me with your sword, I can quickly step back out of the way to avoid that and cock my sword up here so I can come in and counter strike. So this first movement, this withdrawal here, that's a retreat. I'm getting away from you for some reason. Maybe what's happening is, you know, here you're thrusting at me, I'm here, and as you thrust, I step back and off the line a little bit so that you don't catch me with the sword. Meanwhile, I'm like this, okay? So I can come in to cut. So that's the purpose of that step back. Everything about the cut in Nino Suburi is the same as in Ichi no Suburi, except because I'm taking a step in with my back foot, there's a chance for my hips to drop and turn a little bit more than they do when I'm just doing the first Suburi, up and down. Okay, first Suburi, up and down, yeah, the hips are dropping, but there's not much turn in them at all. Okay, up and down. But when I'm doing this and I step forward, okay, my hips are turning, right? Because I'm stepping. And so have a sense of, as you cut, drop your hips and turn just a little bit, okay? If this is where my belly button is, as I drop and turn, it just goes to there, okay? Your hips are dropping and they're turning, but they're only turning because I'm stepping. And so I put the hip power into that cut, okay? All right, so moving on to number 3, San no Suburi. This time, we're stepping back again, but this time, instead of the angle that we just did, this one is going to be straight up. Straight up, coming right out of my forehead. No angle at all, if you can get it that way. Okay, we're beginning the same way. Right foot forward, right hand on top. And then, as you step back, straight up like this. And I'm still looking that way. I'll be looking over the top of my arm. Okay. Right up like this. It's not funny. Straight up. And my body is turned more sideways than it was in the second. When I do the second Suburi, I'm still towards you a little bit more. See, my shoulders are like this. But when I do San no Suburi, I'm turning more sideways. Hips and shoulders. Here. Okay, more sideways. Once I get to this point, I lower the sword slowly right here to my hip where my belt is. The blade is up. Blade is pointing up. Okay, once again. Step back, bring the sword directly over your head. Not over your head, but like directly straight up, point straight up. Then you lower your hips just another inch. You're hiding the sword from your opponent. Okay? And then you step forward, straight forward, and cut the same way you have been. San no Suburi. Step back. So here you have your left foot forward. Drop it down to your belt. Then as you step forward, bring it to your spine, elbows together. Step forward all the way with your right foot and cut down. San no Suburi. Hey. 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 There's a breath practice that you can do with this as well, and that is breathe in, hold it up here, hold it, 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 and now exhale everything. Hey. Hey. Keep facing me. Hey. 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 that's San no Suburi. So, you know, O Sensei had a pretty philosophical approach to Aikido, and there's a whole side of Aikido that is very, very philosophical. And O Sensei would say, you know, that when you're raising your sword like this, that this is almost like a lightning rod, and you're connecting your center with the universe. Okay, and you're in essence you're drawing energy with this thing here. So I think there's some science that shows that ki energy is a real thing, and you might feel it and you might not. And don't make it up, but I would encourage you to imagine what that would feel like if that energy came down, nice, warm, powerful, safe, calming energy that you store in your center. And then as you step forward to cut, it's like all that, you shoot all that energy straight out your sword. Okay. You're gathering the energy and you put it all down into your center. And then you cut and it comes out. Much like when we do Tai no Henko, right? It's like a fire hose, like energy coming out through your fingers. Strong. Kokyu. Okay, that's that same feeling of energy coming from your center. You know, we joke around a little bit about, you know, walking through doors using your shuto, okay, the knife edge of your hand with your kokyu practice. And so think about that, okay? As you push, don't push with your arm, push with your center and your energy, okay, as you go through that door. We also shared recently, there's a picture of O Sensei, and he is pushing against a tree. Double kokyu here, like kokyu, kokyurosa. So have that sense it's in your hips, okay? When you're cutting, it's in your hips. It's not up here. Yes, you're cutting with this, but when I cut, I'm pulling my cut down with my hips here as they turn and drop. That's the power of it. And that's one of the reasons why it's good to, one day when we get back to the dojo, it's good for you to get on the tanren, the tire, and practice cutting 100 times at least, and begin to really feel that, the hips and how they put power and centeredness into your cutting. Okay, so we're going to move on to number 4, and number 4 is like number 1, except you're going to be walking and cutting, stepping and cutting at the same time. So you're just standing in regular hanmi here, right side hanmi, and you're going to step forward and cut. So now my left side is forward. Okay, it's like here's how it works. As I step forward, my feet are together right here, and my sword is at my spine. And then as my left foot finishes the step, I finish my cut as well. Start here. Step forward, feet together, sword to your spine. Finish your step. You're still in hanmi, and your sword is directly flat with the ground. Okay, once again, bring your step forward to your left foot so your feet are together. Sword is at your spine, elbows in. Finish your step forward with your left foot. You're in left side hanmi now. Cut down all the way, sword level. Now, just look at me for a second, because my left side is forward. Okay, I can't be like this because my left leg is forward. If I do it facing this way, you might be able to see a little better. I step forward, feet together, finish with left side hanmi, and cut down. Okay, so this left hand is all the way up against my belly. Okay, because in order for me to keep my shoulders this way, with my left foot forward, this left hand has to come right up against my body. And this one pushes across my body this way. That's what it looks like when the left side is forward. Left side cut. Okay, so left side cut, my shoulders are left side forward. Right side cut, my shoulders are right side forward. Okay. Right side, stepping forward, left side. When I'm doing the first Suburi, it's mostly my shoulders are straight forward like this. And so now I'm getting to practice how the body is aligned differently as I step. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to face away from you. I'm going to start with my right foot forward. And I'm going to step slowly. I'm going to pause when my feet are together and my sword is at my spine. And then I'll finish the cut. So I'm going to cut left, right, left, right. Then I'm going to pivot. And I'll cut back towards you, left, right, left, right. Okay? So here we go. Feet together, sword to the spine. Left side cut. Feet together, sword to the spine. Right side cut. Feet together. Left side cut. Together. Right side cut. Okay. Now, all you're going to do here is keep your feet where they are. Don't move them, other than to pivot right in place. Left side cut. Feet together. Right side cut. Feet together. Left side cut. Feet together. Right side cut. Pivot. Left side cut. Feet together. Right side cut. Feet together. Left side cut. Feet together. Right side. Pivot. So you should have your left foot forward here. Cut. Feet together. Right side cut. Feet together. Left side cut. Feet together. Right side cut. Okay, so that's yon. Yon no Suburi. Number 5, you're stepping as well. But this time, we're going to move the arms and the sword in a different way. Because when I move forward to cut with number 5, Go no Suburi, I am imagining that there's another sword in front of me. Okay, maybe our swords are crossed. So as I step forward, I have to come under this person's sword. I have to come under it. So here's the sword right here, right? Okay, right here. I have to come under it, keeping this in front of my center as I turn, and now I can cut them because I've used my sword as a shield, as a roof. Still comes to my spine as I turn my hips and cut. Once I'm on the left side this way, maybe that person stepped back and blocked me. So our swords are crossed again. So in order to step forward here, I have to step forward with my right foot, hiding under my sword, and then I can cut down towards the person again. So let's see if I can show you here. If I'm stepping left with my left foot, my hands go to the left, and the tip of the sword goes to the right. If I'm stepping with my right foot, my hands go to the right, and the sword tip goes to the left. Left, right, left, right, left, right, can be confusing if you're a beginner. You're not really sure which way the sword should go or your hand should go. But one thing I can tell you is your hands and your center are always going to move together, okay? So if I'm moving this way, around you this way, and I'm stepping this way, my hands are going to follow. In some ways, you could maybe say that my center is following my hands. That my hands lead here. But really what's happening is my center is moving. So if I'm stepping right, my center is going this way. My hands are going to lead out in front of me here. Left side, right side, left side, right side. Now I want you to see that as I'm doing this Go no Suburi cut, I'm not allowing my hands to go behind my head, okay, or my elbows to open up like this. Hopefully you're remembering a throw that we've been practicing a lot of. Okay, Shihonage. There's the arm. I have to keep it in front of my head for the throw. And that's what Shihonage is this cutting. So as I raise, the hand stays here in front of my center, in front of my forehead. Not like this. Dame. Not like this. Here. Elbows forward, hands in front of the forehead. Let's see, it's probably easier to do this way. Go no Suburi. Left side cut, right side cut. Left side cut, right side. Left side, right side, left side, right side. And so you are moving forward as you step. I stayed in place just as a way of showing you without getting too far away from you. So number 6, Roku no Suburi, is the exact same thing we just did, except we're gonna lunge, slide forward with a thrust after each one of the cuts. Okay, so it will look like this. I'm stepping forward to cut you, and then I keep that foot forward and I thrust straight forward, trying to keep my body sideways as much as possible. Don't thrust like this with this shoulder forward. Keep it back. So I'm starting with right foot forward, right? Right hand on top. Step forward. Now I've got the left foot forward, and then push off with my back foot and thrust. And you can see my sword is turned a little bit on an angle. I'm not leaving, I'm keeping my hands where my knuckles are on top as much as possible still, as I thrust. Then I cut on the right side, and I slide forward and thrust on this side, body sideways. Cut on this side, thrust. Cut on this side, thrust. Right for my center. Make sure you don't get it out like this, doing something wonky. Cut on the left, thrust. Cut on the right, thrust. So you see my hands doing this a little bit. Excuse me. And so as I'm thrusting, moving forward, my knees bend, okay, and my sword comes with my hips as I thrust, as I coil my muscles. Boom. Boom. Okay, so watch it from the back here. I'll step forward, cut on the left, thrust on the left, cut on the right, thrust on the right, cut on the left, thrust on the left, cut on the right, thrust on the left. Pivot, cut, thrust, cut, thrust, cut on the left, thrust on the left. Cut on the right, thrust on the right. Okay, that's number 6. Roku no Suburi. So number 7 is similar, okay? You're gonna cut, but then step and thrust on the other side. You're not sliding forward on the same side. And every time you do the cut, it'll be a right side cut and a left side thrust. A right side cut and a left side thrust. So if you're starting at the beginning, Sensei says, Shichi no Suburi, 7. Okay. You step back and start like this. It's the only one you do that with, except for number 2. Cut on the right, step forward, thrust on the left. Cut on the right, thrust on the left. Okay, so I'm staying in place here so I can stay in the frame, but I'm going to do this walking away from you, and maybe you can practice it along with me, but stay in place because you might be in a place that doesn't have much room. So draw back here, first movement. Cut on the right. Step forward with your left foot, thrust on the left. Cut on the right, thrust on the left. Cut on the right, thrust on the left. Hit it. Cut on the right, thrust on the left. Sideways body. Cut on the right, thrust on the left. Sideways. Keep this shoulder back. Cut on the right, thrust on the left. Okay. So those are the 7 Suburi. And this is part of the practice that Wit Shihan gave to, that Saito Sensei gave to Wit Shihan, okay? And he came back to the United States after he had to leave Japan. And, he asked Saito Sensei, what should I do? How can I keep training Aikido when I go back to the States? Saito Sensei said, well, you have your Jo and your Bokken, practice Suburi. So it did. For 3 years, he practiced Suburi. No partners, maybe. And that's the beauty of this, okay? You guys can practice this at home. You don't need a partner. It's super easy. Go out in the backyard, spend 15 or 20 minutes running through all these. Done, okay? Your Aikido will become so much stronger because you're practicing how to move your center, how to keep your knees bent, how to align your body. And the weapon is just a really good aligner, I guess I can say, to keep you to keep your body unified in the movement. Okay. All right. So we're going to end class here, and I'm going to put you back on the stand for a minute, and we are going to do Hapokiri, 8 direction cut. Okay. So start with your right foot forward, please. Draw back. 1. Cut behind you. 2. Pivot. Cut behind you. Cut behind you. Okay. Left foot steps to the diagonal. Cut behind you. Cut behind you. Left foot steps to this diagonal. Cut behind you. And then all the way back to the original line. Okay. Awaimasu. So now the sword's in your right, in your left hand, blade up. Right. Domo arigatou gozaimashita. And then you slide your sword into your right hand. So hopefully you guys all stuck with me through that. We haven't practiced